High Elf rundown on the Barefoot Miniatures channel. I'm joined, as of last time, by Phil.
Hi.
Dabbler of Elves and general
That makes me sound a
aficionado.
bit weird. That makes me sound like I'm a bit weird.
Let's not elaborate further on that in the intro. He's got to get to 5 minutes before YouTube demonetizes. Otherwise, YouTube demonetizes me. So, anyway, yeah, this is part 2 of the guide. If you've not seen part 1, it was last week's, and I will link it in the cards or in the description below. If you want this in audio format, on a podcast feed or nice and professional, that is one of the Patreon benefits. From the minimum tier of the Buy Me a Pint level, you get that, and that will also be in the links below. Right, Phil, we're going to do units today because we spent a lot of time doing characters. We were succinct on the mounts, which I thought could have spiraled massively because they've just got so many mounts. But we were good and succinct on the mounts, I think. The units. I think this is where it's going to be contentious because we sort of agreed hard on the last one. Except for that hippogriff. Or the griffin. Except for the griffin. I like the base size, man. I like the base size. I think that was a bit of a mistake. I already regret it. But I never said I wasn't going to change my mind. So let's get into the units. We've got the Ulthwan Militia. And that's both. It's a joint page for Spearmen and Archers. Seems this is like an editing point. Right, this is so pedantic. It's weird. Why have they put these on the same page? Whereas, say, like Empire Archers and I know Spearmen, Halberdiers, and Swordsmen all go together, but it's not like that couldn't have included the Archers profile because they've got completely different special rules lines. Anyway, sorry, I just had to get that out of me. It was burning a hole in my head. So we've got Spearmen, 9 points a model, and we'll talk about them completely separately, right? You've got Weapon Skill, Ballistic Skill 4, Strength, Toughness 3, Initiative 4, 1 attack, Leadership 8. You've obviously got Elven Reflexes, so you'll be Initiative 5 going in the first round of combat, going to 6 if you get charged, which is a really nice threshold to be at because you will strike simultaneously with an Initiative 3 person charging you. You've got Martial Prowess, so you can strike 2 ranks in the flank. I'm not too arsed about that. You don't see it come up much.
No.
You've got Regimental Unit, and you are the Regimental Unit. And you've got Valor of Ages, so you're re-rolling panics because you've got Valor of Ages. Not quite veteran, but you're an elf. You can have Shield Wall for 10 points a unit. Do you know what? I'd definitely say you take Shield Wall. It's just such a good rule.
For 10 points a unit, if it was 1 point per model, I could see it getting pricey. But 10 points a unit, take it.
Yeah, because one of the things with these, 9 points a model, it's on the near cheapest elf model, if not the cheapest elf model that there is. And this is where you want a bigger block. Like some of the other units I've seen really successful at like 14 strong, 2 ranks of 7. But Spearmen, I really think you want great big units, 21 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I think if you've got a character in there, if you're using it as a caster bunker, take Veteran. That's really good to have that in there.
Does that spread to the character?
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Why is that 51% of the unit or something?
No, if the majority of models in the unit have Veteran, you can re-roll your leadership test, but you can't do ones that are personal to that person. So there's certain ones that are like only affect that individual.
So you could re-roll the Handmaiden. Yeah, so what we're saying is you can't re-roll the Handmaiden's Horn.
Yeah, you couldn't re-roll the Handmaiden's Horn because that's just for her. But if there was like another leadership, if it was just I don't know, one for me is your character is stubborn, so therefore you put him in a unit, the unit gets stubborn.
No, it doesn't.
Well, if they've got...
It doesn't. Stubborn specifically says you don't. I've seen a load of people playing it like that.
Oh.
Stubborn, it's like sort of paragraph beneath at the bottom of stubborn don't confer.
Not stubborn. I didn't mean stubborn.
What do you mean?
I meant stupidity.
Oh, right, okay.
I didn't mean stubborn at all.
Well, you could be stupidly stubborn. Well,
you could be stupidly stubborn. I meant stupidity. So stupidity does confer. So you characterize stupidity, you put it in a unit of veteran, you get to re-roll that leadership test for stupidity.
Is there stupidity in the elf list? Wizarding hat.
I don't think there is.
Wizarding hat. If you have a character with a wizarding hat.
With a wizarding hat. Yeah. But I just think it's good. It's good to have re-rolling panic, re-rolling march when you're being march blocked. I think you would just do it if you had to cast a bunker for the extra 20 points, 25 points for what you're taking. So yeah, Elven Spearmen are a solid choice.
Yeah, I think it's an often overlooked unit because it seems like super squishy and it's a lot. It's just good for having a chaff hard. Yeah. Where you're not going to be double +1, so you're likely falling back in good order, and then having that shield wall on there to just have a solid line that just, I know it moves back too, but I'm going to say it doesn't move, that it just stops there and stops a charge dead. Having a lot of models in it and have it's then when that, say, like Magic Standard worth 50 points, putting the Razor Standard on a unit of Spearmen that's a decent amount wide. Because you've got to look at, I think, points cost of units. A lot of us compare, say, like a core unit that's got 20 models in, that's only, in this case, 180 points plus command being 200 points. People compare that and go, oh, they're rubbish versus this 400 point special slot. The core unit is just terrible. But if I put 400 points into an elf spear block, with a Razor Standard shield wall and all that sort of stuff, and I go like 12 wide with a spear, striking initiative 6, it might get opinion revised. Because my skeleton blocks at 10 wide have done really well with spears with a Razor Standard.
These is a unit of 21, 7 wide, full command, Razor Standard, shield wall, and veteran is 275 points. That's not bad. That's really good.
But even like if you want to go 3 deep at 10 wide, 270 plus full command 285, shield wall 295, Razor Standard. What is that? 340.
40.
And then you've got like a decent chance of being a real successful unit that'll hold the line while your faster chariots, cavalry, everyone else does their stuff. And it's not bank breaking.
No.
Like
yeah, I mean, I like it.
Really like
and
it.
Also, then, if you're charged and say you charged by a dwarf, so you're going first, you've got 20 attacks before they even get to attack.
Yeah.
20 attacks. Like, I think this is really. Elven Spearmen, I think a bit frowned upon, but I really like them. I think High Elf Spearmen are brilliant. Probably the best Spearmen in the game.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an acronym for it. Make Elven Spearmen great again. But let's move on to Elven Archers. So these are the detachment unit. And I know I said why they're on the same page. Empire Archers are detachment units, and so are Free Company, and they're on different pages. Anyway, it's 10 points a model, so actually more expensive than the Spearmen. And that's because you have a long bow. So you've got Armor Bane 1 and 30-inch range, which is really good when you have BS 4. So even at long range, you're hitting on 4s, short range obviously 3s. Leadership 8 and Valor of Ages, so you're sticking around quite well. And again, it's quite getting on. I know it's only a difference of 1 point a model, but when you hit double digits, that's when I start going, oh, it's actually quite expensive. But still, I think can be used to great effect to just put hurt down.
See, the thing is, though, I don't understand how they're 1 point more. I don't.
Spearman.
Yeah, so we can tell from this page that light armor is costed at 1 point per model on this stat line, right?
Yeah, because of the upgrade to light armor for 1 point. Yeah.
So that means that spearmen have roughly around about 3 points of upgrade. So that'll mean that longbow,
shield, light armor,
yeah, that longbow is worth 4 points.
Yeah.
It baffles me that they're worth 4 points more. Baffles me.
Yeah, on top of a basic stat line. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, archers are, don't expect them to do a lot. Expect them to be hailed as the savior of the games when they start doing a lot. Do you know what I mean? They're a hit and miss unit all the time. They're there to get rid of your chaff. They're there to get rid of your chaff. The longbow being 30 inches, which means that you can start in your own deployment and still take shots.
Yeah, not move to get.
Not moved, so you're hitting on 4s instead of 5s, which is brilliant. You can get spells where you can get Curse of Arrow Attraction where you're re-rolling 1s. So they are good. I just prefer spearmen. In this instance,
I think they make a good detachment.
Yeah,
because of adding that stand and shoot to the spearmen, I think adds a lot of combat res, or at least the potential for a lot of combat res. The amount of times I've had extreme example, dwarf iron drakes doing well. Actually, they've done up to 11 combat res against like Empire standard troops, state troops, but even getting 5 from a unit of or 3 from a unit of 10 archers into toughness 3 light armored opponents isn't unheard of, and 3 combat res can make a big difference to that combat. It's the sum total of a normal unit's ranks in close order. So to be able to add that through having detachment, I think is really useful. I like him. I like him as both. I agree with you. They're probably too expensive, but I do like them.
Yeah.
Next, let's get on to Lothran Sea Guard. And these are 11 points, so 1 point more expensive than archers. Basically the same everything as a spearman, stats-wise. So you weapon skill, ballistic skill 4. You gain a war bow on top of what else you've got. And you need to pay 1 point for a shield. So that's another point, so you 12 points. So it doesn't sort of fit in with the amount of war gear that an archer versus a spearman gets. They are slightly cheaper.
Yeah.
You can have full command. The champion is more expensive than he is in a spearman unit. And that's because of gaining the extra ballistic skill on top of an extra attack. 1 per 1,000 can take Valor of Ages with Veteran or a magic standard worth 50 points. And you've got Naval Discipline. Basically, you can always make a stand and shoot reaction, no matter how close the charging unit is. So you gain mid-quick shot. And after that, you can redress the ranks. So become a block. I do like it. I do like it. As a unit, I know we were saying earlier or in the first part of this guide. Oh yeah, in the first part when we went through virtues. I've not seen an actual abuse of Lothran Sea Guard. By which I mean I don't think it is abuse when they are taken or stuff like that. Part of that is redress the ranks being limited to 5 width going down. So yeah, you can go from 10 wide to 5 wide, but unless you're on a hill, you ain't getting more than 10 bow shots.
Yeah, I get what you mean now.
Yeah. Was you thinking I was going to say you can only go 20 to 15?
That's what I was like. What? Where? Yeah. So I agree with this. So you're only going to get 10. You can get more if you put more in that rank, and then you can go and get your rank bonuses and stuff like that. But I love the unit. I do love the unit, but everything that I look at it, I go, oh well, they're doing the job. I don't want them to do an archer's job and a spearman's job. I want them to do one or the other.
Yeah.
But I love that naval discipline rule, and I really like it. I just really like it. I can't answer. I look at it and go, it's not that great, this unit. It's getting a bit more on the pricier side when you look at the other elite units that can do similar or better jobs.
Yeah.
But I do like this. Like, for a high elf army, I would love to have just like a load of Sea Guard, and that would be my infantry corps.
Yeah, well, we've come from, if no one's guessed up to now, a 6th edition background where the Sea Guard list was a thing. There was a specific Storm of Chaos list for the Sea Guard. I do like them. It justifies them being in the old world setting a lot. Do you know, like, it really hammers them into, like, that's why they're here. So I really like that as an army list. As a unit, what I think they're lacking over Spearmen and why I prefer separating Spearmen and Archers, and it's only a 10-point upgrade for Spearmen, Shield Wall. Shield Wall for just grinding someone to a halt.
Yeah.
Like
that shield wall, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had that,
I think it's not worth splitting it.
Yeah.
A naval discipline for the bow shots. It's not overwhelmingly good. It's potentially 10 bow shots. Yes, you're hitting with half of them and then wounding with half. You may be doing one casualty. But a lot of the time, if you want to be doing active work with your Sea Guard, you need to be moving about. And a lot of the time marching. And that's this split usage thing that I said when we talked about elves, mages on dragons, and dragon mages, I think comes into it now. Have a unit of archers, have a unit of spearmen, and I'm not tempted to go, oh, well, I'm going to sit my Sea Guard here for a turn and not look 2 turns into the future, and actually I should have got marched forwards. I think is a real problem with them.
The other thing as well, like, because if you're looking at like for like unit size, you can have your detachments of bowmen on the side of your spears. So you're not, you can
like 2 additional
because you're not paying 12 points. You're saving that 3 points. There will be a point where it will draw even for more bodies. So
yeah, and you can just leave the archers on a hill so they're all firing.
Yeah. Or you could walk one of the archers up with it so they can do the 10 for the incoming damage, you know, and then the next turn you're going into the flank of them. So I think possibly if they were a little bit cheaper, or if they came with shield standard.
I don't know whether you could do either of them because
I don't think you just devalue.
Yeah, you've just devalued spearmen and archers, as we said. Like, I think maybe archers are slightly too expensive. Maybe archers should be. You see, the trouble is if you devalue archers and spearmen or decost archers and spearmen, it starts getting into the territory where you become cheaper than an empire state troop or veteran state troop.
Which you shouldn't be.
And I think part of that is empire troops are too highly costed compared to other things. So I think it may be a problem there that's then had a knock on into other things. But hey ho. Weirdly, do you know, if we'd have done this guide like week 2, week 1 of the old world being out,
I'd have been like, just take Sea Guard. Just take Sea Guard.
Sea Guard is going to be a problem. They're
just take Sea Guard.
And they've just not been. White Lions. So 14 points a model, so 2 points a model more than Sea Guard. And what is that, 5 points a model more than Spearmen? You get weapon skill 5, so an additional weapon skill, an additional initiative. But do you care? No, because you've got Great Blades, so that's the AP -3 plus 2 strength strikes last great weapon. Yeah, it's. This is where we're going to start disagreeing, isn't it? They've got heavy armor. They've got lion cloaks, so they've got a 4-up save versus shooting. You can replace Valor of Ages with Veteran, which I'm not really ever a fan of. Phil is, because I think you should just have a battle standard. You can take a magic standard, but the one that would jump out to me here, along with the Spearman as well as the Razor standard, I'd also like think about the Banner of Iron Resolve for Spearman to automatically have that stubborn, Here you have stubborn built in.
Yeah.
So it's a bit lesser of a downside. What war banners even are really good within that 50 points range of Magic standards is the main one to just start getting more combat res. Go on, let's go through it. Why do you not like White Lions?
Because I just think these other units that just do the job better. There is one rule that I really like on White Lions.
Yeah.
And that's the King's Guard rule.
Yes.
And I really like that rules. And I think the models and the fluff for White Lions is really cool. I used to play Warhammer Online as well, and I was a White Lion in that. So, nerd.
I think we're all nerds.
So, yeah, I think I'm safe. So I really like the unit, but I just think that it's outclassed by other ones. And unless you're taking a themed list, I think that you'd always lean into one of the other choices. They're kind of a mix between a combat unit and like a hammer and an anvil unit. They're like midway in between both. And I just don't. It's the Crazian Warblade, Great Blade, by the way. It's that
yeah, it's
that
the
does
fact that
me.
you're striking last.
Yeah.
And you don't have strikes first. That
Actually,
maybe they'd
it's
be
not
too good at that, but
it's not the Crazian Warblade I've got a problem with.
it's the Sword of Hoth.
It's the Sword of Hoeth that I've got a problem with.
Yeah, probably agreed. So they've got the Tracian Warriors, where you can only be joined by the general or someone with the Tracian Hunters Elven Honor. And most of these specific units have something like that. It's nice that you get a like let out of it for the general. It's it's a decent unit. It's a decent unit. There's just options that are just so much better available. Because I don't even think they're massively overcosted. If you think about how a Bretonnian Knight of the Realm on foot is 13 points with a great weapon shield and heavy armor, so the same save against shooting, the same save in combat. These have got an additional AP, as well as the King's Guard rule. The Bretonnians have a 5-up ward against strength 5 or better. That's really good. These have an additional weapon skill. Do you know, it's all looking fairly balanced there between these like sort of great sword, Bretonnian, and White Lions units. So let's go into the Sword Masters.
Oh,
the same points cost. The same points cost. So for the Sword Masters, you get weapons skill 6.
Just say that again, by the way. These are the same points cost.
Yeah, so they're 1 point more than a Bretonnian Knight on foot. You get weapon skill 6, so you're 2 higher than the Knight. You're 2 higher than a great sword. You're 2 higher than the Bretonnian Knight on foot. You're 1 higher than the White Lion for the same points, and 1 point more than the Knight on foot. Right? You've not got strikes last on your blade. It's basically a great weapon that doesn't strike last. Is the Sword of Hoth. Strength 2, AP -2, doesn't strike last. Oh, what to start with on these? You've got Cleaving Blow. So if you roll a natural 6 to wound, they don't get any armor. So he sort of steps on the toes of the White Lion right there. Just steps on the toes completely. You've got Close Order rather than Open Order on the White Lions. So you're getting an additional combat res from that.
Yep.
And I wouldn't say I'd massively miss it off the White Lions, because you still get your rank bonus in combat, except Sword Masters with their great big swords get Close Order.
Yeah.
Now, you've got Deflect Shots, so you've got a 6-up ward against shooting. You've got Warriors of the White Tower, so you can only be joined by a mage or a character with Warden of Safari or Lore Master Elven Honor, though you should only join your mages if they've got Lore Master of Safari, right? Surely.
Yeah.
Surely. We all know that.
Did you mention the magic resistance -1 as well?
Oh yeah, they've got magic resistance -1. Sorry, Phil, they just had so many special rules. I didn't. Do you know what? This is the Elven Guide. We shouldn't complain. They've got drilled +1 point a model. It's just an incredible unit. It's hard to make a case for any of the other special units because sword masters have so many benefits to them.
They're about 6 points too cheap.
You reckon 6? Are you going with 6? I reckon a good 4. 4, like,
Yeah,
because they're like around chosen level of goodness. I reckon.
I tell you what, I would be happy with this unit if we just gave them light armor
rather than heavy.
Yeah,
Are you valuing light versus heavy at 6 points? You've just said.
No.
You just think it's bringing it back closer to normal.
Yeah, and then I've got another one. Sword of Hoeth, it should be -1 AP and not -2.
It should be -1 AP and doesn't have cleaving blow. I don't think. Cleaving blow is a lot. If no one's guessed yet, we think these are really good.
Dark Elf Executioners are the flip side to this unit, right?
Yeah.
Dark Elf Executioners are strength 4 base. Don't get hardly any of those rules. Their drilled is 2 points. Have cleaving blow. Their sword is -1 AP, not -2.
Yeah.
These have got a built-in 6 upwards. You can't. It's just really good. And this is why White Lions are not going to get a sniff in, because these are so good.
Yeah, well, a little bit. That's why, as much as we're complaining almost about this unit, it's more that it muscles out other units in the elf list that sort of should have their heyday. Swordmasters have always been around, and I know people like Swordmasters, but other units that are really cool don't get a look in because Swordmasters are so good.
Yeah. They're just brilliant. They're just brilliant. Yeah, I can't take Swordmasters.
Yeah. And at the risk of beating a dead horse, let's go on to Phoenix Guard. So they weapon skill 5. The Guardians of the Phoenix King, weapon skill 5. Strength toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5, 1 attack, leadership 9, and 16 points, so 2 points more than a White Lion or a Swordmaster. You come with a ceremonial halberd, which is striking 2 ranks, +1 strength, -1 AP.
Armor Bane.
Yeah, Armor Bane 1, and you've got full plate. So you are on a 4-up save against shooting like a White Lion. You're going to get double the attacks from having 2 ranks of either a White Lion or a Swordmaster. So there is an upside in taking them. It's not all down from the 2 points a model more expensive. You can have drilled for 1 point a model, a magic standard worth up to 100 points. So you have got like BSB levels of magic standard allowance. The Keeper of the Flame can purchase magic items to a total of 25 points. This is similar to the other units. I didn't mention it because I never do it and don't like it. Phil, you sometimes like doing stuff like that.
Sometimes it's like very niche sort of stuff. So Bretonian's the Gauntlet of the Jewel.
Yeah, that's definitely
Now these stuff like Fistful of Laurels for ogres, but there isn't a lot. In all fairness,
are you not doing the potion of toughness anymore?
Oh, I used to take a potion of toughness, take it in my turn, and then challenge the combat lord so that they couldn't hurt my guy. Yeah. That's a cheeky one that I do sometimes. Also, like sometimes I take the potion of speed, but this is when I'm having a bit of a joke and a laugh. I don't think I'd do it all the time.
Phoenix Guard, anyway. Phoenix Guard.
Yeah.
I really like them. Whenever I played against them, they've done well. Obviously, you have to put them into a different target, a more chaff target than Swordmasters. But they're having double the amount of attacks because they're fighting extra rank has really, obviously, magnified the strength of that unit. They've always done solid, dependable work. Witness to Destiny, I think, is a bit low. I suppose it's unit-wide. Can you go that strong with a unit-wide bonus? I sort of feel like it should be 5 up, like a Chaos Knight is getting, and just maybe increase their points cost a bit more. Do you know, like, because even a Bretonnian Knight on foot is getting a 5 up versus Strength 5 or more. I know these don't trigger it, but it's still something Bretonnian Knights are getting against things they're largely scared of. So it would have just been nice to see, to be honest.
Do you know what I'd like to have seen on these?
Go
I
on.
mean, I love this unit. I think this unit is brilliant. I really like the sort of the Phoenix Guard.
But they
Obviously,
supported the wrong king, Phil.
I had the false king, the false king. Obviously I play Dark Elves and I take Black Guard, which are the counterpoint to these, but they don't have immune to psychology.
No, they do have veteran though, so there'll be leadership 9 re-rolling it. They'll take the -1 for the terror, won't they?
I just thought they would have had. It's more of a fluff choice than a unit choice, because they're supposed to be like, they know when they're gonna die, so they don't fear anything.
Yeah, but maybe that time they're gonna die is this battle.
Yes,
because they've only got a 6 up more. They've only got a 6 up more, so 5 out of 6 times they're gonna die.
Yeah. But that's not a bad mouth in this unit at all. Phoenix Guard are amazing. They're really good. They're again, when we've said like these can actually be a hammer or an anvil depending on what you're going against. So they can either take a charge or they could dish out one because of that drilled as well. So if you're going to go into something, Bretonnian Knights on foot that have only got a 5 up save, you know, drill so you're 6-7 wide, go into them, you're probably going to be plinking off quite a few before they even get a chance to. So I do like this unit quite a lot. Quite a lot.
Now, one of the things that I would have liked to see on this unit, the ceremonial halberds giving +1 when they are charged. Now, although that steps on the toes of spearmen a lot, it would have been nice to be at that initiative 6 threshold.
Yeah.
With, I suppose you've got elven reflexes, haven't you, for the +1? But striking first before a charger, it's sort of, I know that's like dwarf trick with the hammerers.
Yeah.
But it would have been something real nice for Phoenix Guard, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
And as you can sort of see if you're listening along to this, we sort of decided in this elf review to give our thoughts of what we would like to see as well, because it is so far into the game, rather than just giving a quick like, oh, this is what the unit does.
Yeah.
We sort of doing a bit more of a like, oh, what could be changed, speculative thing.
Yeah.
Now, Shadow Warriors, we've got 14 points a model. You've got weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, because you're so used to hunting down the Dark Elves in the Badlands in the northwest of Ulthuan, right? Strength toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5, going to 6, obviously with elven reflexes, 1 attack, leadership 8. So you're the same cost as a White Lion or a Swordmaster. A single dude or dudette can be upgraded to a Shadow Walker for 6 points, gaining an additional ballistic skill. A 0-1 unit in the army can have ambushers, chariot runners, or feigned flight for 1 point a model. What do we think?
I don't want to. So I like these types of units.
Yeah.
These sort of war machine hunting / backline harassers. I do like them. I don't think I'd take the champion. 6 points for just next ballistic. You've ballistic skill 5 already.
Yeah.
I just don't see the point. That's me personally. I'd rather, you're almost half a cost more for another Shadow Warrior. So I'll just get another Shadow Warrior. With the special rules, I don't like ambushes as a rule. That's just me personally. Some people love it. I don't like it. Not when you've got Scout. And most thing that has Scout has ambushes.
Yeah, because you mean most thing with ambushes have a Scout.
Yeah.
It's agreed. I like that table presence turn 1, especially when you've got bows and you've got
exactly
like, it's better to have 6 turns to fire your longbows than it is to have 3 or 4 turns to fire your longbows.
Exactly.
Who knew?
These are too expensive to have chariot runners.
A little bit, yeah. He's more.
If you're screening a chariot with 140 points for models, then fair play to you. I just wouldn't.
I think it's more like how I think of using it would be more like, oh, very situationally, the chariot's gone past them and it just happens to want to run through them. But
Yeah.
it's too situational to upgrade for 1 point a model.
So I really like the interaction between Feign Flight and Fire and Flee, because you fire and then flee. You automatically rally at the end of the move. So then you've got options in your turn. So you don't count as moving for when you've rallied. So then you can start shooting. You can move out the charge arc again. You can even charge the unit. I do think that it's got quite a good interaction. And Feign Flight for 1 point, I would lean towards.
Yeah, it's the fact that, because I always think of it as being just an auto rally, and actually it's not, is it? It's at the end of that flee move, you rally.
Yeah.
Which is
it's a Fabigo, basically.
Yeah.
It's a Fabigo, basically.
Massively different. Now, it's a Fabigo, yeah. You fire and flee, you only move d6 back rather than 2d6, so it is worth being aware of that, I think. Staying around terrain as a bit of more of a tactic.
Yeah.
So your enemies rolling 2d6, pick the lowest for their charge to mitigate a bit your d6 move back.
Yeah.
I think is the way to be playing these, rather than, as you said, in a chariot screen, just walking forwards in the middle of the board, which is a bit mental. Yeah. Right, let's get on to Sisters of Avalon, and I think these are the last infantry unit. So a bit of an overlapping role with Shadow Warriors. You've got 15 points a model, weapon skill, ballistic skill 5, strength toughness 3, 1 wound, initiative 5, 1 attack, leadership 8. You've got Bows of Avalon, light armor. One model in the unit can have a champion, which gains a ballistic skill but not an attack. Can have magic items up to 50 points, so you could actually put your magic bow here.
Yeah.
Though I wouldn't.
I
wouldn't. 0 to 1 units in the army, you can have ambushers or stubborn. A bit of a weird one, I think, that's stubborn. Like, yes, it could just come off that you've taken 5 Sisters of Avalon and you stand them in front of things, and at, what is it, 70, 75, 80 points, including the stubborn, you just fall back in good order 1 turn. Yes, that's a way to use them. I'm not sure for 80 points it's worth it, over if that's what you're planning, is to just waste people's first charge and things like that. I'd probably just take a unit of archers and walk, or a unit of spearmen that's really cheap, and just walk them in front of my other units. Do you know, for that sort of purpose?
Yeah.
Rather than like a 15 point a model getting better and with just doesn't do it for me, Phil. Just doesn't do it for me. They have got skirmishers like Shadow Warrior. I don't think we even mentioned it on Shadow Warriors. But
no, I just think we just assumed that everyone would know they have skirmishers.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of this unit, Phil?
I would take this unit with ambushers.
I thought you literally just said you hate ambushers.
I do hate ambushers because the units that can take ambushers usually has scout. They don't have scout.
Yeah, true.
So they ignore cover, so they're always hitting on 2s.
Yeah, do you not think they're just... I think they slightly pale in next to Shadow Warriors.
Like, they've got more punch, though. They've got more punch.
In what way?
Because the Arrows of Aisha gives their -1 AP with Armor Bane.
Yeah, I suppose they've got that -1 AP. It's just, they're not even as good as Wood Elf Glade Guard in that respect.
Yeah, but Wood Elf Glade Guard are the best shooting unit in the game.
Yeah, I just don't think it's worth 15 points for what they're getting. If
Possibly
they had,
not.
say, like to utilize their open order a bit better, or like their weapon skill 5, rather if they had, say, like the spear that comes on the character unit, if they just all had it as standard, and you had this like sort of hybrid unit that could utilize ambushes a bit better, like take out a war machine after ambushing, having walked onto the board firing the bows. Yeah, cool. Like utilize that strikes first as well. With only having hand weapons in Ithmalar weapons, do you know, like as their bonus to hand weapons, I don't think they're good enough to be like, oh, we're gonna go like rival skirmisher hunting like that impactfully.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a bit jaded in the way that I just really like them, and I don't know why. I like them.
It's a gut feeling.
It's just a gut feeling. I've never seen them fielded, but I think like just a big, like either a small unit of 5 that are ambushing, or a big block of them.
Yeah, a big block. A big block at 15 points a model. And
yeah,
just got
big block
arrows.
with a handmaiden. Big block with a handmaiden. They've got volley fire.
Yeah.
So 15 shots in a turn.
I
hitting on 2s. Hitting on 2s. Wounding on 3s or 2s, 3s or 4s, depending. With -1 AP. And you'd be like, it'd be like that. You'd have to start fighting in the shade, like in 300.
I think my unit of peasant bowmen would do better than a big unit of these. And not to say, I was trying very hard not to just be like, you're wrong, Phil. But I've been podcasting with you for long enough that I've just done it. But no, I just disagree. Like it's each to their own, isn't it? It's each to their own.
You take 390 points worth of peasant bowmen, and I'll take 390 points worth of these.
390 points worth.
Yeah, so that gets me 20 Sisters of Avalon and the Handmaiden with the horn.
So I get 80 peasant archers.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
Gauntlet laid down. Right. The first of the cavalry units, we've got Illyrian Reavers. So these are 16 points a model, light cavalry with the fast cavalry special rule. So if you're in open order, which they have, they can move, or they can march and do their open order turn, which is quite nifty. You've got weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, like elf standard, strength toughness 3, initiative 4 with elven reflexes. You come with cavalry spears, light armor. You can take short bows for 2 points a model, or replace cavalry spears with short bows for 1 point a model.
So you'll see that option there where it says replace cavalry spears with short bows. That's a typo. That shouldn't even be in the book. Because there's no way you should be replacing your cavalry spear with a short bow.
Oh right, you mean like it just shouldn't be in there. Well, do you know what? I agree with you. I don't think short bows are bad. With having quick shot, yeah, I would have liked to see fire and flee on them, because they've got elven reflexes, fast cavalry, open order, swift stride, valor of ages, no fire and flee. Now, I'm pretty sure Bretonnian mounted yeomen have fire and flee. So combined with swift stride, you're going 2d6 backwards. They're auto rallying for you. And yeomen are really good, but a short bow combined with its quick shot combined with fire and flee would have been really, really nice to see. Because surely elves, they're like so old. They're just so old, Phil, and they've been training all their life to be an Illyrian Reaver on the plains of Illyria. And surely they know how to ride away from the enemy firing bows. Humans know how to do that. It just makes no sense. But yeah, cavalry spears. Keep the cavalry spears. Yeah. In summation, I like that they're a core unit.
Yeah.
I like that they're a core unit.
Would you take scouts or skirmishers on it?
I'd take skirmish because I think you don't. I think they're too expensive, and most cavalry is too expensive to be taken in ranks. The only one that you really see it with is Goblin Wolf Riders, Boar Boys, and I say the only one and then name three, and then Empire Knights. Bretonnian Knights outstanding of that because that's the entire army.
You've
but
named
that's the
4
entire
now. Do
army.
you want to name some
But the
more?
Bretonnian Knights, the entire army. You don't really see it outside of them. I wouldn't.
Tomb Kings, heavy cavalry. Do you want to name them as well?
I don't think you ever see them at all.
No, but I'm just naming other things that take ranks.
If I ever saw Tomb King's heavy cavalry, I'd probably see them in 2 ranks, but
Right.
you never see them.
Anyway, he's stopping at them. He's stopping at them 5. He's stopping at them 5.
It's not. No, Centaurs as well. I take my
Centaurs.
But anyway, I don't think you're going to take a big enough unit to have 2 ranks. I think it's worthwhile having that 360 charge arc, and you can even plonk them in front with a 360 charge arc of your dragon princes to mitigate their impetuous, like skirmishing, and then charge off to the side because you've got skirmishers. It just makes them more effective like that.
And now you don't obscure yourself as well when you're shooting in a skirmish formation. You must be able to draw a line of sight, but they can't draw cover from you hitting somebody else in your unit. So I
Who was claiming that anyway? Like
I was at a tournament. And somebody did that to me, and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Do you know what? That is mental. When people I don't even see people like when they've got a unit of skirmishers. The majority of times, people will just bunch them up and be like, "Oh, they can all see because they're skirmishers."
I know, but like he was like, "Oh, they all can't see it," and he's like, "And they're obscuring me the shot, so I get my only one to your hits." So I'm putting my repeater crossbows from 5s to 6s, and I'm like, "Nah, I don't think that's." He's like, "Yep, that's right." And I'm like, "Okay." Anyway,
cheers, guy.
Moving on.
Well, I again think it's a good unit. Don't take 2 ranks, take skirmishers. Silver Helms, 23 points a model. So it's the same cost as a Knight of the Realm, is where we're placing this. Weapon skill 4, strength toughness 3, initiative 5, 1 attack, leadership 8. You've got lances, heavy armor. It's 1 point for a shield, which you're definitely going to take. You've got close order, elven reflexes, swift stride, Ithmalar barding, and valor of ages.
First charge, sorry.
Yeah, do you know what? It's a solid unit. Dependable. I don't see much of a problem with them. Phil,
I think they're really good.
Yeah, right. Okay.
No, I think they're really good. I think you've just got like that. You can have that all-mounted cavalry high elf list. I really like them. 24 points a model, because they're always going to be 24 points a model. Because you're always going to take shields.
Yeah.
Good save, good movement. Movement 8. Most other heavy cavalry is like movement 7.
Yeah.
So really, really fast. Initiative 6 when you Initiative 6 before you had your charge bonus. Initiative 6 if you're being charged. They're good.
Yeah. No, it's one of the things is obviously Bretonnians have better knights than them because Bretonnian knights have counter charge. However, I don't think it stops Silver Helms being really good. I just think a lot of the time I've seen people getting disheartened with Silver Helms when they expect 5, 7 Silver Helms to just break a full infantry unit. And
which isn't going to happen.
The Silver Helms are like 170 points, and you're running into 300 points of an opposing infantry unit. They're only going to have. They've got 1 attack each. It's not like a unit of Chaos Chosen Knights that runs in with 2 attacks each and just motors someone.
Exactly.
Yeah, expect it to be a solid core choice.
Yeah,
I think is the main way of saying it, and it's a good one. Dragon Princes, 37 points a model. These are initiative 5, so 1 more. Weapon skill 5, so 1 more. 2 attacks each. Leadership 9. You're still on a movement 8 steed because it's barded. You've got lances, full plate, and shield, so you're on a 3-up rather than the 4-up that the silver helm can get. Magic banner worth up to 50, with obviously full command being in there.
You're on a 2-up.
Ah, right. Sorry. Yeah, brain fart. Brain fart. It's full plate shield, barding. Yeah, 2-up. You've got close order, counter charge, dragon armor, drilled, elven reflexes, first charge, impetuous, Ismalar armor, Ismalar weapons, Sons of Calidor, swift stride, valor of ages. Sons of Calidor means that you can only be joined by the general or someone with the blood of Calidor. Right, so I was actually expecting you in this to be like, oh, impetuous kills the unit, because we were saying that about the Sun Dragon last episode. I thought you were going to be like, no. What is it that brings it back, you think, with Dragon
better
Princess?
Weapon skill, better armor save, better attacks
than the Silver Helms.
Then the Dragon Mage, then the Silver Helms. Counter charge. So if I fail my charge from Impetuous, I can counter charge the unit that goes to charge them.
Yes. Yeah, that is a big difference, I think.
You know, their downside isn't really that bad a downside because they're only going to get caught out with Impetuous once. They're not, if something's gone seriously wrong, if they're being caught out multiple times in the game with Impetuous.
Yeah. And by caught out, Phil, doesn't mean failing the test there, I don't think. You mean failing the test when you don't want to charge anyway.
Yes, that's what I mean by caught out. Yeah. I don't mean just failing the test. I mean failing the test when you don't want to do it.
Yeah, effectively, I think you from turn 2, you want to be declaring a charge every turn with these.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't matter.
I like them. My experience playing against them is, well, for the Dragon Prince has not been great because they're still toughness 3.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that you need to be wary of with this unit, is that they've got a load of benefits, great armor save, but everything is wounding them on a 4 or better.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the... Against other cavalry, I think it matters less. Because other cavalry with lances, and a lot of cavalry strength 4, even a lot of human cavalry, do you know, like by the time it gets to like this 37 points level, it's wounding you on 2s anyway.
Yeah.
And so I actually think against other cavalry, it doesn't matter as much. Against enemy infantry with spears, the amount of wounds that go onto your armor saves is obviously increased massively.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think it's a really powerful glass hammer unit, like say Wild Riders are in an elf army who knew they were going to have glass hammers.
Yeah.
And when I say glass hammers, they've still got a 2-up save, so he's not that glass hammery.
They're like tempered dragon glass hammers.
Tempered dragon glass. Hard to shatter, but when it shatters, it goes everywhere.
It fucking explodes everywhere.
How big do you reckon you want to be going with Dragon Princes?
7.
Oh, we've aligned. And Phil, we speak to each other far too much.
You've got to do the Len Goodman, mate. It's 7 all the time for elite heavy cav.
Yeah, and that's because a lot of the time people take heavy cav in 5s, and the theory that came to be demonstrated by my Chaos Army was you go 1 wider, so you are in base contact than expected enemy cavalry units, and 7's still maneuverable.
Yeah,
it's not too wide.
It's 15 attacks with lances for 7, because you're taking the champion.
Yeah, of course.
So that is just brilliant. That will motor through. You're ignoring rank bonuses on the first unit you charge. You can counter charge, and your strength 5. So you're wounding most things on 2s.
Yes. Yeah, and that's still only 300 points. So it isn't actually that expensive. Do you know, like, it's not actually that expensive for 7?
And your initiative 6+, because you got elven reflexes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
really.
Great unit. Love them.
Solid. Right, onto the chariots, Phil. Onto the chariots. Tyrannok chariot, 75 points a chariot. It's a light chariot. Can be taken in units of 1 to 4. It's got strength 5 as a normal chariot, toughness 4, 4 wounds. The crew are elves, by which I mean weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, initiative 4. He's got 2 elven steeds. They're not barded, so they go in 9 inches, so really fast, just like the Illyrian Reavers. They're doing D6 impact hits with open order, quick shot, swift stride, valor of ages. So here you can stand and shoot from any distance away. Don't take -1 shot to shoot from moving. You've got longbows, cavalry, spears, hand weapons, and hooves. What do you think of it, Phil? What do you think? You don't like him?
I don't. So I know that the Goblin Wolf Chariot is pretty much the same as this, but that's so much cheaper that you don't mind. It's 75 points. I just think it's a bit expensive for what it does, and it's just basically a harassment unit.
Yeah, it's without that heavy chariots -2 to impact hits.
Yeah.
It's mainly a fast cav hunter.
Yeah.
To get into the breaking ranks like level, which I know you can break ranks of enemy units at 5, but I tend to now think if I want to try and get unit strength 10 to be able to break heavy infantry now, which is accomplished by 5 light cavalry. If you know what I mean. Whereas
Yeah.
you're going to have obviously multiple chariots to do that.
3 chariots to do that. It makes them a little bit unwieldy when you're using them. And just because the dangers of you getting cavalry to go through terrain. Chariots to go through terrain.
Yeah.
I think just with longbows, they don't put out enough damage.
Yeah.
And I think there are, like, if I look at comparing these, like the Goblin Wolf Rider chariots are so much cheaper. The Dark Elf Scourge Runner, which is basically the same but comes with a strength 6 -3 D3 wound harpoon.
Yeah.
I think, but that's where you'll probably see another chariot that comes along has that role. So I think it's just not for me, this one.
Do you know what I would have weirdly liked to see on it?
What?
Fire and flee.
Yeah.
Fire and flee. Because it's then you can charge in to a light unit a bit out of position, flee away, and be this very elven, fast-moving chariot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, like getting risky, riding in. The White Lion Chariot for 125 points is a heavy chariot. You've got weapon skill 5 on the charioteers because of their white lions. They've got Thracian Great Blades, so strikes last with the Great Blades. +2 strength, -3 AP. And you've got lions, which are weapon skill 5, strength 4, 2 attacks each, of which you've got 2 of them. And they basically get hand weapons, right? You do D6 impact hits, you're a heavy chariot, so it's at -2. You've got a 3-up save versus shooting and 4-up versus combat because of the lion cloak. You've got stubborn, which is nice to see on a chariot. What to say about these? Cause fear. So you mitigate other people's fear. You're never really going to be outnumbering someone.
First charge.
Yeah. That's chariot standard, isn't it?
Yeah. I think these do a lot to mitigate the issues of the Thracian Warblade, Great Blade.
Yeah.
Because your impact hits go in initiative 10.
Yeah.
You're wounding, again, most things on 2s, -2 save. So you're not getting as many attacks back before you get to go with your massive axe. The lions, again, they're going to go first because they're going to be initiative 7 when they charge.
Yeah, and you're at least going to be striking simultaneous with your charioteers.
Yeah.
And if you
So
yeah, and you've got to take 4 wounds. It's like an ogre. You've got to take 4 wounds before your
combat effectiveness goes down.
Yeah, you become nothing as your combat effectiveness goes down because you're alive until you're dead. I know that sounds stupid, but your model is there until it's not.
And the movement 8.
Yeah, so it's respectable, isn't it, versus other armies 7.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. 125 points, steal. Yeah. Take 20.
Yes. Well, if you take 20, please don't message me to come on the channel. If you, all other high elf players, shoot me a message. But and anyone else out there. So, Lothering Sky Cutters, let's bring the mood back down. 90 points a model. You've got a chariot. You've got, by which I mean a stat line of a normal chariot. You've got 2 Sea Guard crew, which are weapon skill, ballistic skill 4, strength 3, initiative 4, leadership 8. You've got basically an eagle, a swift feather rock, one of them, which is weapon skill 4, weapon skill 5, strength 4, 2 attacks, with wicked claws, which are AP -2. And you're this weird, I'm going to say weird, shooty, heavy chariot, which has got impact hits D3 +1. You've got fly 10 because it's a warhawk eagle-y thing. It's a swift feather rock, sorry. You've got close order, valor of ages, this and that. You've got cavalry spears and short bows on the crew, but one of them can be firing for 25 points. An eagle eye bolt thrower, which is 1 shot, strength 5, AP -3, multiple wounds D3. So not got through and through like a normal single shot bolt thrower.
And it's got cumbersome as well.
It's got cumbersome. What do you think, Phil?
I like this quite a lot.
Shocker! What?
So it's cheaper than a lion chariot. It has the AP on its attacks though, so you've got more chance of them wounding, actually causing a wound and not being saved.
So he's got half the number of, like, the eagle has half the number of attacks as the 2 lions do.
Yeah, but right. Like the attack's more likely to go through. But I think statistically it works out roughly the same.
Right.
Right. But you're faster. You've got D3 plus
crew, haven't you? But do you know what? I really don't like
you've got 3 crew, and you've got D3 +1 impact hits. I love having +1 to my impact hits.
So you would think of it as a combat thing, not a shooty eagle eye bolt thrower thing.
I would take the 25 points on the bolt thrower, by the way, just because.
Yeah.
It only makes it 115 points. Why not?
But for 115 points, I might as well pay 125 and get D6 impact hits. I just think it's a bit of a mix, like too much of a mixed unit. Like the White Lion chariot, like his head, obviously with the impact hits. I know the bird is gonna have him like AP -2 in its claws, but impact hits from the White Lion chariot skip the to hit stage, and I've got potentially I've got less, but potentially I've got more of them.
Yeah,
like it's a bit of a toss up. I get where you're coming from. Because that fly is really nice for positioning, especially with a 60 mil wide chariot base. It's not too hard to like wheel and stuff. And I think the jury's out. Let us know what you guys think below in the comments. Is the Lothering Sky Cutter? Which one is better? I never see these anywhere, Phil.
It's because you can't get the model for them. You can't get the model for them.
Is that the only reason?
Yeah.
You think?
I reckon that when that goes on sale, you'll be facing 5 in an army.
Won't be able to keep them away.
Yeah.
Right. Onwards, onto the Phoenixes. Now, we didn't do these as mounts because, do you know what? I don't massively see a reason to take one as a mount, at least, over a dragon. But we're going to go over them as individual creatures. So, effectively, you are 170 points for weapon skill 5, strength toughness 5, 5 wounds, initiative 4, 3 attacks, and leadership 7. You're a monstrous creature, and your base is 50 wide by 100 long. So you're the same size base as, say, like a griffin or something like that in width, or an eagle. You're smaller than a chariot, by which I'm saying because your turning circle is better.
They're the same size as a chariot. It's 50 by 100.
Just thinking about the Lothran
Skycutter.
Yeah, which is bigger. So you're the same as a chariot then, which isn't big at all. You've got Wicked Claws for AP -2 on your 3 attacks. You've got heavy armor effectively, Blessings of Azorian, Close Order, Fear, Flaming Attacks, which is arguably as much of a downside as it is an upside.
Yeah.
Fly 10, From the Ashes, Large Target, Stomps 2, Swift Stride, and Wake of Fire. So From the Ashes is when you die, roll a dice, and on 1 to 2, the Phoenix is just gone. And a 3 to 5, the Phoenix explodes, doing D6 strength 3 hits at AP -1. And on a 6, it comes back to life on D3 wounds. Which is nice, it's a thing. I wouldn't pay many points for it, I will say, that From the Ashes. Wake of Fire, I actually think is quite a nice rule. So it's basically a bombing run. Go on.
Just wait, I've got a question about From the Ashes.
Go on.
If you lose combat and it dies,
yeah,
and before you remove it, you do that. Say you get 3 wounds back.
Yeah.
It would then have to take its break test, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And you'll be definitely double +1 because it's only it's only got 5 wounds. So.
Right. Okay. That is all I want.
You hate just stuff like this, don't you? Like Sons of Horus come back to life thing.
Yeah. I'm not a fan. I just think it should be resolve the combat. And then it comes back. Like, make the person decide what they're going to do, and then make it come back.
So make it come back effective, unbreakable.
Well, no, because you can only do it once per game, can't it?
Right. So, but like a 1 to like stubborn even.
Oh no, it doesn't.
What's
it's
that?
not once per. It's not once per game.
Right. There you go. Yeah. It's every time, but you've got to be really lucky to get that 6 and it come back.
Yeah, but I was just be like, oh, you
I suppose,
act if you give ground.
I suppose on a 6, you probably for that 6 deserve to just like
I just think that it's that's okay.
Yeah. So Wake of Fire, I really like the Wake of Fire bombing run because it can be every turn, D6 strength 4 at AP -1, flaming attacks. Nipping over light cav units and taking them out with a bombing run is really, really useful because it does it in the movement phase. So you can do it in the remaining moves and then move another unit through the gap.
Yeah.
If you take out enough. And it means that you don't have to commit to a unit like in combat to take it out or critically damage it. I think that is my favourite bit about it. I'm not the biggest fan of Phoenixes, to be honest.
Okay.
I'd much prefer a Great Eagle.
I'm on the fence with this. Like, if I was taking like a Phoenix Guard themed, Azorian themed list, I'd have it. But I'm quite indifferent to it. It's a bit pricey for what it is, I think, but I quite like it.
But that's it. I don't hate them, as in like the actual thought process of the model or whatever. I just like for the cost. It's like basically the cost of 2 eagles.
Yeah.
And like as much as I like Wake of Fire, I could just put 1 eagle over the unit and charge the other eagle into the unit.
Yeah.
and get the same sort of cost benefit. So yeah, it is what it is, I suppose. Not the best. Still don't think it's maybe a bit better for a mage than a dragon, but I still don't think it's cost efficient compared to a mage on an eagle, say. Frostheart Phoenix. So this is an additional 35 points. You get an extra weapon skill, an extra strength toughness, an extra attack. You've got Wicked Claws for the same AP -2, Frozen Plumage, so full plate. You are now the same cost as a Sun Dragon in terms of mount. So probably not worth it, right? But on its own, Blizzarding Aura, while in base contact with this model, enemy models strike last. Fear, Fly, large target, stomp attacks, 2 swift stride. You give us yours first. I started giving mine first.
I like this. I think I really do. But again, it falls into that dragon territory. So I like it. I think it's got a really good weapon skill, good strength and toughness. The Blizzard Aura is something that I think is really decent, where you can start barreling it into things, taking off a couple of wounds, where you're pretty confident that if you fall back in good order, you're not going to be chased down. You know, they're not going to make contact with you. I think that's where this is. I quite like it. I just do. Yeah. The Flame Spire Phoenix, the bombing run, which is really good.
Yeah,
I really like that. But the rebirth thing is, you know, it's you can't rely on that, and I don't really like things where things pop up with wounds, because I usually find out they die straight away. Also, that's the other thing. At an initiative step, so if it's initiative, if it dies at initiative step 4, you'd remove it from the table then, and it would come back on, and then initiative step 1 can then attack it.
You just hate Reborn from the Ashes, don't you? You just hate
I don't like rules like that in general. But this, making everything strikes last, you know, my Bretonian Lord is going to, Bretonian Dukes is charged into you. Right, well, now he's only initiative 4.
Yeah, fair.
So I get a chance to get rid of you. I would have liked to have had.
Well, no, because if they charge and they gain strikes last, you're only initiative 3.
Yeah, but I'd always put carrots on top of this, which is what I was just about to say. I'd have liked this to have been initiative 4.
Oh, you like this as a character mount?
Yeah.
You like this as a character mount? Oh, do you know what? Yeah. I was too presumptuous by being like, oh, we'll just do these in the creatures section. Do you know what? I'd like it if you could pair it with a white lion, because that great blade strikes last. And it's stuff like that. Whereas an elf lord with a lance on a dragon is already striking first.
Yeah.
So
true.
Yeah. It just doesn't add up.
Just doesn't do that for you.
Yeah. It's just, I just think they're in because dragons are so good. Everything else is now in a weird spot.
Yeah.
Of like questioning its existence. Great Eagles on their own. Great
Eagles are great. Great Eagles are great.
60 points. Wicked Claws, 3 attacks. Stomp attacks 1. So you've even got one of the 2 stomp attacks that a Phoenix does. Your weapon skill 5, strength toughness 4. And absolutely brilliant. Fear, close order, fly 10. Stomp attacks 1. Swift stride. They are great. Great.
Yeah.
Great for plonking in front of units, being cheap draft units. You can plonk them in front of cavalry, and it's as cheap as a minimum unit of spearmen. So you can plonk them in front of cavalry and waste first charges. So basically the uses of eagles are limited by your imagination, I would say.
All right.
No, that's not in an insulting way. I'm saying they're very useful.
No, I know it's not. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's the combination of speed, maneuverability, good AP, like they don't even cross the. Yes, they'll be wounded on 4s, but they like when stuff's popping up that has, say, like feel no pain, like flagellants against strength 5 or more. Strength 4 isn't actually a bad place to be.
Not with the -2 AP on it as well. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I think it's a nice little midway there, because most things that get -2 AP are strength 5, which trigger a lot of benefits from, Bretonians, flagellants, stuff like that, where this is a nice mid ground.
Yeah. Yeah, you still
So,
wounded
yeah.
on 3s, but agreed. And finally into the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower.
It's the best bolt thrower in the game.
Is it better? Right, so it's definitely worth it because bolt throwers are quite good. Quite good. The downside of it only having 2 wounds, I think, is the main downside of it. What makes you say it's the best bolt thrower? What is worse about the Dark Elf bolt thrower?
Oh, well, the Dark Elf bolt thrower is basically the same as this bolt thrower. They're the same points cost. They do the same thing.
Okay, so it's the same.
So
he's tied for greatest in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bolt throwers being AP, as an explanation for anyone that is getting into Elves, not played many bolt throwers and stuff, they're AP -3 at strength 6, and the
AP,
through and through rule, which basically means it travels through multiple ranks, doesn't require the first model to have died for it to go through. So essentially, even if it doesn't wound, it like passes through the model and goes into the next model.
So for this, for me, it has the through and through and multiple shots. So if I'm coming against things that have got multiple wounds, I can fire the multiple shots to try and kill one of them.
If it's got like a single rank, yeah.
Well, even if it's got 2 ranks, because the multiple shots doesn't do through and through, and all the wounds would go into that one model. So you've got a chance of killing an ogre with multiple shots. Whereas with through and through, you haven't. It does 2 wounds, 2 wounds, 2 wounds, so on and so forth.
I see what you're saying. Against an ogre, because it'll never do the entire model's death.
Wounds. And the biggest problem with an ogre is that it's still got the same combat ability on 3 wounds as on 1 wound. And if you have a look at other models like that, so you've got, Crocs of Gore, Dragon Ogres, you've got all these things that have like multiple wounds where I've got a chance of killing one. Is it probably better shooting the through and through and just doing 2 wounds? Quite possibly, but there is a chance that you're going to kill it completely by using using multiple shots. So I think it's the versatility which make it the best thing. And like you're probably going to be like, oh, well, what about the cost? Because these are 80 points, and I think the Goblin one is 35 points per.
A big difference there, though, isn't there? Big difference between ballistic skill 4 and 3. And I think dwarf bolt throwers are something like 60 points.
Exactly. So for 20 more points, you've got a better ballistic skill, and you've got more in the way of versatility with the unit. So actually, the best bolt thrower, I will stand by this. It is the best bolt thrower in the game. Just like how Sisters of Avalon can kill 80 peasant bowmen.
What was it? How many Sisters of Avalon, though?
390 points worth.
So like 20 of them.
Yeah, with a character.
Right. Okay. At some point we'll do this, but that is the end of the army list.
I have to math hammer it, but yeah.
Yeah, that is the end of the army list. Hopefully everyone's enjoyed watching it, got a little bit out of it, and also not been too enraged by our ludicrous opinions. That's all from me, Phil. Any more from you?
No, that's it from me.
And we'll catch everyone next time. In a bit.
Right. See you later.